Unbelievable.
Okay, I know everybody can hear me now. So, unbelievable. So, I'll tell you what goes on here. For some stupid reason, when I had to hard restart my computer yesterday. Sometimes the settings on OBS, so you have to connect to something called OBS Studio before you can go live on YouTube. And those settings on OBS Studio get all fucked up. I'm not really sure why, so I apologize. So let's start this live stream again. Welcome in, everybody. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. I see several people here and like 2 thumbs up. Drop me a comment. Let me know you're on the live stream, and click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live each and every single weekday. What I was joking about is that I have a very hoarse voice. I'm going to have to watch talking today. I woke up like this, and I am not sick. I feel completely fine. It's from screaming like a maniac yesterday as Bryce Harper just went off. The Philadelphia Phillies hit 6 home runs in the NLDS Game 3 against the Atlanta Braves. I was so excited yesterday. I had an so funny story from yesterday. I had an Instacart order come, just a grocery order. The guy came to the door. I opened up the door and I said, let's fucking go. Bryce fucking Harper just hit a 3-run, because he came to deliver the food right after Bryce Harper hit a 3-run home run. And I said, Bryce effing Harper just hit a 3-run home run. Put on the game, son. He just looked at me like I was crazy, which I got a little bit of craziness in me, but sane in an insane world. So that's what was going on yesterday. So my voice is just is what it is. But glad to be back. You know, it's funny, even not doing a live stream one day, I definitely miss doing it. So glad to be back evaluating the charts with you guys. Glad to see DJ's in the house. DJ, I'm not selling my cast, but that's not what I'm sharing with everyone. Black Oil, good to see you. Oof, let's fucking go. All right, we can chart any of those ones out that you want. I think we actually just charted those. But it's good to keep stacking. Good to keep stacking. What are you ordering on Grubhub, brother? What are you ordering on Grubhub? There's a really good place that I just discovered local in the area that makes, I forget the name of them, else I would give them a shout out if anybody's local here in South Florida. But they make these like bowls where it's like Bolé. There's a place here called Bolé. It's the same premise. I mean, you basically pick like your protein sources, your vegetable source, your carb source, any sauces on the side. Real simple, but very healthy and delicious. Juan, welcome in. Good to see you as well. Man, thankfully I haven't had too many meetings today because it's been hard to talk. It's been nice just crunching numbers all day and trying to make sense of this gobbledygook that I'm looking at here. So let's start things off with Bitcoin like we always do. And then I'm going to kind of share with you why I felt it was important that you tune into this live stream today, just with some, you can see my tweet here. A very special and important message. So I want to make sure to get to that. But let's get into the charts first. So let's kind of update you on the current situation here. Not much has changed. Kind of high level. What I'm looking for on Bitcoin is to maintain price action above this 50 simple moving average on a candle body closing basis. That 50 simple moving average is at basically 26,600. We're sitting right now at 26,750. Ultimately, don't forget, what I did say was a possibility was we could come all the way back here and back test this as support before it sort of acts as a springboard, like a trampoline, and we sort of jump off of it. I still think that's a possibility. But not too much has, I apologize for the voice changes, not too much has changed within the charts, okay? We're sort of just pivoting in between the 50 and 200 simple moving average. Again, this is a really important item to point out to you guys where you really don't think that technical analysis works. look at the fact that once we reclaim the 50 simple moving average, this purple line, we've stayed above it, right? It's now acting as support. See how we're bouncing off of it on the daily, but we can't get back above the 200. We keep hitting our head on this 200 simple moving average because we're below it, right? So right now, I mean, the way that I could most simplistically state to you what price is doing, price is just sort of coiling up in between the two moving averages, and it's trying to decide what it wants to do, right? Volatility has been pretty low, and what that should also tell us is there's going to be some sort of a significant move in the markets at some point soon. Shout out to Tony the BTC Bull and the small chance that he is watching. He did chart something out that was very interesting. He likes to look at cycles. Okay, this is actually something that you can chart on TradingView. I thought this was a really well illustrated point that he's making. He's saying here that the impulses appear cyclical in nature, and he's asking the question, which way will this impulse move, right? You can see it's very easy to see at the end or the beginning, depending how you look at it, if each broader cyclical circle here, you can see price explosion up, price explosion up, price explosion up, price move down. Now we're sort of waiting in this time frame in October for Bitcoin to decide, what does it want to do? Does it want to move down or up? Now I've given you enough, Jesus. I've given you enough charts. We've looked at the Heikin-Ashi monthly, which is suggesting on a broader macro perspective basis, since we just printed a green monthly candlestick, that's telling us most likely the direction is up. We spent a little bit of time talking about the Williams alligator, the ADX and DI, how some of that muckiness in the chart is beginning to clear up. So I'm definitely leaning bullish in terms of where the month is going to land. Nonetheless, we're sitting here on October 12th, right? We're practically halfway through the month. Price hasn't done jack shit. And this kind of gets into what I wanted to share with you guys before we start getting into a few other charts. I do have a very important message to share with you. I feel this market is at a very pivotal point. There are a lot of geopolitical tensions in the world without going into detail. There's a lot of concerning things that, quite frankly, Twitter has become. I love that it's a news outlet, but there have been things, graphical things showing up on my Twitter feed that I've just had to block because there are things I don't want to see. My thoughts and prayers go out to anyone who's impacted by everything going on right now in Israel. And I certainly have concerns whether something plays out this year, next year, or a year down the road. I certainly have some very serious concerns about terrorist actions taking place in the United States, retaliations for helping Israel out in any way. We're not going to get into politics whether we should be helping this person or that person. I just think violence in general and war in general is just so awful to see. It's a horrendous what is going on. And I certainly have some fears given the open borders that this administration seems to welcome, that it has increased the likelihood and risk that we are going to see something unfortunately play out in the United States. I was here for 9/11, and I still remember, for those of you who were old enough to remember, 9/11 was a very scary time, very, very scary time. The reason that I bring this up is there's a lot of fear out there right now, right? And what I've consistently tried to state to you, is that you can choose to pay attention to all of the news media outlets. And had you chosen to do that, it would have kept you out of the market at the very beginning of the year. It would have kept you out of the market at the very beginning of 2019 when Bitcoin went on a huge run. And you would have thought that we all would have turned into zombies and would have eaten ourselves during the beer virus of March of 2020. It oftentimes pays out to be a contrarian. But in addition to being a contrarian, it's very important to have a well-informed, educated view of the markets. And what I try to do every single day that I come out here and I ascertain what is going on within the Bitcoin chart or the broader indice markets, is I try to allow myself to be unemotional and allow the charts to speak to me. I am simply an interpreter of the charts. The charts are doing all of the work. I am literally interpreting them for you. And I'm doing the best job that I can to pick up on all of the bullish, bearish, and sort of neutral price indicators and price action that I'm seeing. Everything, all the detective work I can do on my end to try to keep you guys informed. That is my educated view in terms of how I approach my investment philosophy. I allow the charts to tell me a story, and I literally tune everything else out. Okay? Outside of a black swan event, like I always say, these charts are going to tell you what is most and least likely. I think we are at a point right now where there is a very large potential for there to be a significant move up. Did you hear me? For there to be a significant move up in Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto markets. And I just don't want to see anyone get feared out. I remember, okay? I remember because I've been invested in this market for so long. I just feel like we're at another pivotal point right now. I remember this time so well. I remember this time so well. I remember this euphoric time so well. And I remember everyone calling for $1,200 Bitcoin, sub $1,000 Bitcoin back here in late 2018 and early 2019. I'm not here to tell you that I know unequivocally what is going to happen in these markets. Run the other way if you have an influencer, because that's who someone would be, not an educator. If you have an influencer telling you unequivocally what's going to happen in these markets, run the other direction. I'm being 100% honest and authentic with you when I say I am doing the best job that I can to interpret the data to keep you well informed. And it is my educated and logical view that while it is certainly possible that we could get some additional downside volatility, these levels of downside volatility that we could potentially see in the price over the next handful of couple weeks, to me, when we zoom out and we evaluate the chart from a macro perspective, and we're investors here, it is an absolute buying opportunity. I'm never offering you financial advice on this channel. I'm sharing with you my perspective. If you're here to trade Bitcoin and try to day trade it or swing trade it over the next week or two, please go to another channel. This is not how I want to build a community. The community I'm looking to build is a community that ultimately is keeping a very macro perspective view. And what I'm saying from now, what I'm trying to say, the punchline of where I'm going is, I feel extremely confident. And I just indicated that I made a significant Bitcoin price the other day. We're down 2%. Wow, CBG made a Bitcoin. He's down 2% since his whatever dollar purchase of Bitcoin. I could care less. Because whether you're purchasing at $27,000 flat, or you're purchasing at 26.7, or whether you're waiting for 26.2, like I've seen a lot of talk on, it's all going to get lost in the rounding at the end of the day. 6 months, a year out, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the case is, it's all going to get lost in the rounding. Don't try to outsmart the market right now, and don't feed into your emotions. If you are someone that loves to tune into CNN or Fox News or MSNBC, the best advice I could give you is to turn those news stations off and seek alternative news outlets on YouTube or wherever. Use Twitter. Those news media outlets are for-profit organizations, and they are designed to create headlines and to create news stories to feed and prey on your emotions to draw viewership. Okay? A lot of it is just disingenuous in nature, and it often leads you astray because what you're doing is you're allowing your investment strategy to be guided by your emotions rather than your intellect. I think it is a pivotal time that we are at today because, well, again, I can't tell you that we're not going to see more downside volatility. We go down to 25, we go to the low 26s, we go to 24, whatever the case is. it is going to be a monumental buying opportunity, in my opinion, anywhere near these price levels many months out from now. And I can't promise you anything, but I can nearly promise you that you are going to be kicking yourself. You are going to be kicking yourself if you're not buying at these levels. Think about what happened in the most recent correction. Did it matter if you got it wrong, like I did, where I thought we bottomed in this area and we had one more fall? Whether you bought here or whether you bought here, you bought at 19,000, 20,000, 15, 16,000, you're still significantly up on your investment, guys. You're never going to be able to call the perfect tops or bottoms of these markets. Again, I'll come out here every day and I'm going to give you the best effort that I have to try to decipher what's going on. There isn't anything I'm ever going to hide from you. What I communicate to you is unequivocally what I see in the charts. I utilize other data technicians in this space to help formulate my own opinions, people I respect, whose opinions differ and are similar to mine. People, again, who I respect, who I think are authentic in the space, like this analyst who I just highlighted here, who I had on my live stream. Whatever the case is, the reasoning is, and we're going to move on now, the reason that I wanted to communicate this extremely important message, there's a lot of fear in the market, okay? There's a lot of things in the chart that are telling us volatility is at a very, very low point, and there's going to be a move in the market. Don't allow that to fear or FUD you out. Recognize why you're in this market and keep perspective on those higher time frames that I've signaled to you, okay? These buying levels that we're at today represent a significant buying opportunity in my educated opinion. So let's move on. I'll get to the, actually before I move on to the charts here, I see there's a lot of comments. So let me get to those now. For everyone new tuning in, I would appreciate a thumbs up, simply because it helps to, it really does. Just the moment you guys do take, I do appreciate it. Helps to spread the algorithm. More people can tune into the channel sort of thing. So, thank you, by the way, everyone. Thank you for letting me know the volume wasn't working earlier. Oh, is the ETF approval date tomorrow? I wasn't aware of that. I did know that there was an ETF approval date in October. Let me see here. Is that true? Yeah, because a lot of people were quoting November for some reason, but it was October. So Bitcoin ETF dates. Let's see. Bitcoin ETF approval, a step towards the future. Important dates, October 13th through the 17th. I'm just looking at this tweet here if it's accurate. Yeah, so it looks like over these next handful of days. I knew there was a date in October. Thank you for pointing that out, Oof. I knew there was a date in October. I certainly would not be surprised if the ETF gets approved, if a Bitcoin ETF gets approved sooner than most people are thinking, only because the majority typically tend to be wrong. Let me stick my light on real quick. Yeah, the majority tend to typically be wrong. Now, what I don't know, what I don't have in front of me, maybe somebody can fact check me. Ooh, that light is way bright. That reset too. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. Jesus. Maybe somebody can fact check me here. But is BlackRock up for a potential approval this month? Because it was always my working theory that BlackRock would be the first approved for a spot Bitcoin ETF. That was always my thought. Oof, you're exactly right, man. You're exactly right. Like I know for everyone new tuning in, by the way, drop me a comment, not new tuning in. If you're new to the crypto markets, drop a comment. Please introduce yourself if you're new to the market, because one thing I want to assure you of, not assure you of, but share with you, for those who are new to the channel and are not familiar with really who I am, I've been an investor in this space since 2018. And what happens, even though that really is not a long period of time, quite honestly, it's only 5.5 years. I've been invested in this market for actually over 5.5 years. But being in this market for nearly 6 years at this point, what it does is it really does, that's crazy to think about. It really does battle test you. You learn so much about the dynamics of the crypto market that in many ways differ from the traditional stock market, because the crypto market in itself is very much, at times it almost does operate, it seems like, in a silo environment, meaning it's very different, it's very unique, it's a very risky asset class, and the behaviors as such are just a lot more up and down, right? A lot more volatile. And so when you go through these peak times of euphoria and you go through these peak times of hardship, it really does harden you. And the thing is, not harden you, but makes you better well equipped. And the thing that people forget is, if we actually tune back in the charts, if we scroll left and look at the price history on crypto, what people often forget, maybe one of the best demonstrations I could give you would be Alethea AI, right? This is a great demonstration of an asset that is highly volatile in nature. And the point that I want to illustrate here, and I think Alethea AI, ticker symbol ALI, is going to be going significantly higher, okay? What people forget is, and it's very similar for all altcoins, okay? You get this big run. Look at how short this was. This was like a couple months. This was like 2 months, okay? No, excuse me. This was like a month, wasn't it? This was 1 month. This right here, we went from a penny up to 17 cents, okay? That was a month. And this was euphoria, guys. This is euphoria. Now we slow bleed out, and this slow bleed out has lasted the entire year. It's been like 8 to 9 months of a bleed out, right? So the point that I'm attempting to illustrate here is that when we do turn around in the markets and we begin to get a really significant push up, it's very short and fleeting. And that is why you need to be best prepared if you want to take profits during that leg up, right? You have to understand what you're going to do before the market begins to move up, because emotions will get the better of us, okay? All of us, if we're not prepared. And when we do see a correction, okay, in the market, those are much longer and drawn out. That's when all that pessimism comes in, and it really weeds out the inexperienced, I'll call them noobs, the inexperienced noobs that are in the space that don't know what they're doing. Those long, drawn out corrections. You get a little bounce up 20, 30%. You think you're going to run, but it's a lower high, and then we bounce down another 40%. And then you get a bounce of 20%, but guess what? It's a lower high. It traps a lot of people getting in, and then we fade down another 40%. So if you can't read a chart, I don't understand how you could be in this market if you can't read a chart. But if you don't have that perspective and you haven't been in the market for a while, to understand that the ride up is so much shorter than the ride down, you can very easily get weeded out. Very easily. Even though we're already almost halfway through the month of October, I have some news to share with you. Price hasn't done anything, right? Look at price. In fact, we're down for the month. Let's open up the monthly chart on Bitcoin. So if we look at the current monthly chart on Bitcoin, okay, we're nearly halfway in. Now, for somebody new, okay, and this is actually a Heikin Ashi. Let's get off the Heikin Ashi. For somebody new to the market, okay, you see that we're nearly halfway through October. We have this red candlestick. We've had nothing but down price action. And you're thinking to yourself, this month doesn't look like it's going to be up October. Fun fact, and this is based on factual information. This isn't me pulling this out of my ass. We could literally stagnate for the next week. 1 week in crypto can change everything. We could have a significant move up in Bitcoin 1 week that would take this candlestick, and it'll be interesting to see where we're at month close, that could take this candlestick and have a green body way up here with a nice long wick, okay? And a medium size to large size green candlestick. It completely changes the perspective. So the point that I'm trying to illustrate there is we could stagnate for 3 weeks and just have nothingness, and in 1 week completely change the narrative of how this candlestick prints for the month of October. That is crypto. I've seen it way too many times before. So we just have to be patient and hang in there. I just think we're at one of those pivotal points, again, with all this news media out there, end of the world stuff, World War III. There's always constant. I'm not saying I would never wish World War III upon any of us. I'm just saying that there's always calls for World War III every single time. You can remember back in 2018 and 19 with North Korea, right? That little fat man, right? Him and Trump would play games with each other, right? Always all these concerns with World War III. And I don't mean to knock it off and make light of the situation. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm saying is, though, it just pays to put that stuff aside and just pay attention to the charts, right? We can't help if World War III is going to play out. We can't control whether a black swan event is going to occur in the market. But what we can do is we can use all of this factual data to make a very informed decision on what we are taking from the charts, what we're taking from the data, interpreting it and saying, well, based on what I'm looking at here, this is more probable and this is less probable, and then making an educated decision about it. For instance, I'm looking at this chart and I'm saying, well, I think that Bitcoin could maybe move 10% lower. So I put a little capital on the sideline, I save it, I put in a buy limit order, or maybe I think I'm looking at the chart here and I think there's going to be a massive price explosion in Bitcoin within the next couple of days based on some price indicators and things I'm looking at. Well, maybe I just want to get in now, So you can use these charts to make an informed decision. You can, in general, use these charts to make an informed decision and just general DCA at levels, dollar cost average levels that you should be buying into, right? You don't want to obviously be dollar cost averaging up here. You want to be dollar cost averaging all throughout here, right? If you can read a chart. That is what I'm attempting to say here. Get some of the shit off this chart. All right. Evan, welcome in. I didn't see that you joined. Good to have you on the live stream. I did see that, Evan. Welcome in, Brendan. Some people on this earth are, I would just call them evil. They're just evil people on the face of the planet. People that do things like the things I've read about and seen are just evil. There's no other way to say it. Let's see. Got a lot of comments here. So, we just looked at total 3, I think. Total 2 and total 3. So total 2 is going to look a lot like ETH because ETH is going to predominantly be baked into that chart. ETH3 is total 3 is ETH removed. So I guess it wouldn't be shocking if they look similar, although there should be a lot more volatility inherent in the total 3 versus total 2 chart, just because you're removing that huge chunk of market cap in Ethereum. That's a relatively more stable altcoin relative to the rest of the market, all those smaller altcoins. DJ, you DCA every other week, 250 into ZIL. I mean, that's called patience, man. You got a project, you believe in it, and you're just DCAing in every other week. You're putting in 500 a month, and I commend you for doing that. So that's the diligence it takes. Tomorrow is Friday the 13th. I might watch a old school 80s Friday the 13th film to celebrate. I'm sure they're going to be playing a marathon on some TV station Friday the 13th for those who are familiar with Jason. So I know sometimes that gives us issues, and I don't know if that came into play yet, but I just disconnected it in the event it does. DJ, you never said what food did you get from Grubhub? Do you mind sharing? I'm curious. Yeah, getting drafted would be a scary thing, my friend. Evan, have you shared before? Where are you from? Do you mind sharing? I'm not sure that you've shared that before. DJ, I would not. I hear you. I know we stick. I wouldn't wish World War III upon anything. Although obviously, if there was a World War III, yes, that clearly would create some buying opportunities. I sort of feel shameful focusing on that, but this is a TA channel, right? Yes, it certainly would create some buying opportunities. But nothing I would wish upon the world. That would not be good. The CBG custom God indicator. You know, when I do create a custom indicator, I'll have to come up with a really creative name. I think Tony the Bull BTC came up with some really creative names for his, like the Raging Bull. What the hell indicators did he come up with? I have his indicators. I can't show them on the live stream because they're proprietary. But he has the Raging Bull, the Trend Wrangler, the Bitcoin Bullseye. Dude is he was in marketing. He earned his freedom from the 9 to 5, but he was in a marketing apparently, and he has some very creative names. Like, he's very clever. Maybe I should go to him and ask him for names. The God Candle indicator. When we've topped in the market, the God Candle indicator. And then when we've bottomed, the Lucifer indicator. I don't know. I could come up with some sort of creative names. Chicken sandwiches. I've never had Whataburger before, but chicken sandwiches sound good. So, Evan, you're in Daytona Beach. You're not very far from me. You said something about earning your citizenship. Are you from? You're not from the you're not born and raised in the U.S. or I know where you're at. I mean, it's not. It's honestly, you're not very far from me whatsoever. You know that I'm near Fort Lauderdale, so. What was I going to say? Somebody said something about printing money and wars. You know, it is interesting. Credible Crypto, who I have a lot of respect for. I want to show you this real quick before we get back to the charts here. If you guys aren't following me on Twitter, make sure you should give me a follow. Best source of news, in my opinion, is Twitter. I mean, you get things like on the dot. Credible Crypto tweeted something out today that I totally agreed with. And I more or less said, you know, this is what I say on my... Let's get to the punchline of his tweet. There's always a narrative there for those who want to find one. And when price does eventually make the next major move, the narrative that survives will be based on which direction price moves in. Did you hear what he just said? Remember, I have always said that news follows the charts. Charts do not follow the news. News follows the charts. Completely reverse of what you would think, right? There's always a narrative there for those who want to find one. Very, very true. And when price does eventually make the next major move, the narrative that survives will be based on which direction price moves in. Brilliant statement. Brilliant statement. Could not have said it better myself, guys. I come out here every week and talk about this sort of thing. The other will be discarded as nonsense. So, well stated, my friend. The reality is most narratives are nonsense. Really appreciate this guy's perspective. I know it sounds nerdy, but it gives me goosebumps because this is something that I've just come to learn over the years of investing. My mindset has completely changed when I first got into investing. The reality is there are thousands of factors at play at any given time. It's almost impossible to quantify the cause and effect of each individual event. Brilliant. And even if you're right about the cause effect, there's almost no way to objectively prove it. Man, I didn't retweet that. Yeah, brilliant statement, guys. All right. You DCA quant. Nice. DJ, are you in Florida as well? I don't think you ever said. You lived in Port Orange. Babadol, what do you think about the double bottom in the 15-minute? We don't really look at 15-minute charts here, my friend. I mean, if there's a double bottom on the daily or something, we'll take a look at it, but there's some close people. Let's have a BTC meetup if we pump. Guys, if I told you, if my portfolio reaches the highest threshold of what I have it modeled out to be, I'll have a house party and we'll all get crunk, all right? We'll all get crunk. We'll have all live stream together. We'll just be drinking and it'll be a great time. I don't know what the hell we'll do. West Palm Beach? Black Oil, you're in West Palm Beach? Wow, you're very close. But I got a lot of Florida people here. I'm surprised by that. Hey, real quick, guys. Real quick, before we get back to the charts, DJ just reminded me of something. You're in Houston. Okay. See, he said CBG says it and it happens. Cause and effect. No shit. I just tweeted this out yesterday. Okay. I wish I could predict the markets this well. Now, we'll get back to the charts in a moment, but I do want to prove a point that I am somewhat Nostradamus. This is a text message string between my brother and a mutual friend, okay? You will see that at 5:44, I said, I am the green here. Nobody's replying to me, as you can see. And these are my audio recordings of me going absolutely crazy, sending them to my brother and friend, okay? I said, waiting for that defining inning where we get a 3-run home run. Now, I said that at 5:44 p.m. If we can get out of this inning, good. I wanted to see 6 innings out of Nolan. We need to start hitting. Castellanos is who I was talking about here, saying he's my boy. He said, let's fucking go. Now, look at this timestamp. 6:09. Bryce Harper, right before the Instacart delivery guy gets there. 6:09. Bryce Harper goes off and hits a 3-run home run. Oh, right here, you'll see at 6:06, this might have been when Bryce Harper was coming up. This was definitely when Bryce Harper came up to bat at 6:07. I said, I'm going to bust the biggest nut if 2 minutes later, Bryce Harper hit a 3-run home run. And you can see my reaction. I called that mother something. So I am the prognosticator when it comes to baseball. But I wish I could do that in the charts, right? All right, let's get back to the charts here. You can see the way the weekly is printing right now. Main thing for me is just for the weekly, I don't want to see some sort of weekly close below 26,500. That would be a major loss for the Bulls. If we close down here towards 26,500, anything above 26,500 is a major area of support I'm fine with. We had this huge green engulfing candle on the weekly. I don't anticipate that to be invalidated. We have to be prepared for the unlikely events that could occur out there, but I don't anticipate that happening. We'll have to see how this candlestick comes in tomorrow. Call it a news catalyst event, call it whatever. But if we get a big day tomorrow, that could help us to clear up some of the red muckiness that we're seeing here in this thick red body here. So we want this thing to get a little bit more slimmer and red, similar to up here for the week. So we'll have to see how we close out. Now, just a reminder, if you guys were not here on Tuesday, because I did not live stream yesterday, I will promise you, I'll hold myself to this. I will be here for the live stream tomorrow. Okay, so I will be here tomorrow. I will not be live streaming Sunday, and I will not be live streaming on Monday. I will be unavailable on those days. I should be back next Tuesday. So just mark your calendars, because I know this is no, but seriously, just make note of the fact that I will be here tomorrow to close out the week with you. Talk about how the weekly charts are setting up. I'm not going to certainly be live streaming on Saturday. I will be unavailable Sunday. I will be unavailable Monday, and I will be back here on Tuesday. So make sure to tune in tomorrow if you want to assess how the charts are looking going into the weekend before the weekly close. And we'll also take a look at traditional markets, see how some of those major indices are closing out, because that's important to take a look at as well as the DXY. We'll take a look at the DXY tomorrow as well. Let's take a look at the price indicators on the weekly real quick. You can see we kind of talked about this. The big thing I'm waiting for on the weekly chart, we have this declining RSI. We need to ultimately, I've said this before, break above descending resistance. That's not good enough. We need to get above 63 because 63 was our last lower high. See, we have a high, a lower high, and a lower high. This looks like a middle finger, doesn't it? Doesn't it just look like I drew a middle finger right here? Does this not look like a middle finger? Did I just draw a middle finger? You seeing that right there? Hey, that was unintentional, guys. All right? That's me giving a giant FU to the crypto bears. That's what that is. You know, just giant FU. No, but we need to get above the last lower high, which is at 63. So that's really, if you pull up a weekly chart on Bitcoin, that's the main thing you're going to want to watch for on the price indicators. There are other things you could watch for, but if I had to give you the number one thing to watch for, look for this RSI to clear up and get back above 63. This is an interesting chart. Maybe we'll cover at a different point. This is more of a simplistic view on the weekly that I was taking a look at. You can see we've had these, just tried to clean it up and get a fresh view on the chart. Impulsive wave move up, consolidation. Impulsive wave move up, consolidation. Impulsive wave move up, consolidation. Will we see another impulsive wave move up, consolidation? The nice thing, guys, by the way, as impatient as we love to be in this crypto market, the nice thing about what Bitcoin is doing right now, I would actually prefer, believe it or not, I would prefer to have these rise ups in prices and these nice periods of consolidation. For those who have been here for a while, you should know the answer to the question why. Why would I prefer something like this as opposed to something like this, right? The answer is, if we continue to build stair steps up, that is a much more healthy trend that is sustainable, right? So if we zoom out for a moment, if we continue to see this sort of price action, right? What happens is it enables us, okay? It enables us to enter a parabola at a much higher price. And the reason we want to enter a parabola at a higher price, the parabola is going to be unsustainable. There's no price confluence developed in a parabola. Here, we have some nice stair steps. There's some nice higher highs and higher lows. There's a lot of beautiful symmetry going on in the market. And like I said, when you have those higher highs and higher lows being built in a nice bullish trend, what that is it's like climbing a tree, and when you fall, you have some tree branches to grab onto, right? So pretend, if you will, I'll give you a little bit of a metaphor. Pretend the goal at the end of the day is for us to climb a tree, okay? We're going to climb a tree. What we want to do in the beginning stages is, as we're climbing up, we want to have some tree branches to fall onto, right? Maybe we're not really great at climbing trees. So eventually we're climbing up and we fall, but we have some tree branches to grab onto, and then we continue chugging up and we fall, and we have some tree branches to grab onto and we continue chugging up. Eventually we get so good at climbing a tree that we make a one last ditch effort to climb up really high. But eventually our arms tire out, and we're gonna fall, right? We wanna do that at the latter part of climbing a tree because we're gonna go higher, right? We're gonna go much, much higher before our arms are going to tire out. If we started entering a parabola or climbing the tree too fast, too early, we're not going to get up as high, and then we're going to have a massive fall, right? So we want to continue building these stair steps, these nice, sustainable, beautiful stair steps, and then go into a parabola. If there's any, I hate to use the word hope, but if there's any likelihood that Bitcoin is going to reach the price levels that I have personally communicated by next year, and I've signaled, I've signaled a couple different price areas, but basically let's call it 130. if Bitcoin's really going to hit somewhere around $130,000 next year in the first half, or just a pinch over the first half of next year, if we're really going to hit that price level, we need to still build these nice stair steps leading up into the end of the year. You guys know the price levels that I am targeting for the fourth quarter of this year. I just want to see Bitcoin close the year in the orange box. We could go as high as 48,000. I find it highly unlikely that we're going to go higher than $48,000 this year. Anything is possible. Maybe it'll exceed my expectations and we'll get up to 52 or beyond. But this is the main area. I want to see some sort of a significant move up and then some nice consolidation, and then make our move up towards all-time highs and then enter the parabola going into in next year, I should say. So those are really my expectations. By the way, real quick, for those who are viewing the price action on Caspa very negative, please note that for the moment, we still have to close out the week. For the moment, if you saw my updated video on Caspa, it is doing exactly, for the moment. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I'm not getting overconfident here. I'm just using I'm just interpreting the price data, guys. I'm not coming up with this stuff. I literally just found something with my detective work, evaluating the chart. I've already communicated what it was on my videos plenty of times. But if what has occurred in the past rhymes with what could occur now, we've seen the downside volatility, and we should, over the next handful of weeks, see a significant move up in Caspa. Whether we top out at the end of October, another week, another 2 weeks, in the beginning of November, whatever the case is, this, if it plays out like before, this will have been the low point on Caspa. We went all the way down to 4.1 cents. That would have been your low point, okay? So if this plays out like times past, we should be significantly up 10 cents and above on Caspa going into November. So we'll have to see if that plays out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Either way, anything under this 10 simple moving average on the weekly long term, the chart tells us it is a significant buying opportunity. We'll have to see if it plays out, though, if history sort of rhymes. Doesn't repeat, but rhymes. And by the way, I did see some of the comments on the debasing of the currency with any potential war action. Guys, anything going on geopolitically where we need to intervene, God forbid, God forbid, God forbid, God forbid, that there is a terrorist attack within the United States, it'll give every reason to print money. There's always a reason to print. The government will look for a reason to print money. It also seems like the government seeks out opportunities to want to go to war at times. That's just my opinion. It just seems like we always look for an opportunity to want to create war. And actually, if you study the history of money, Mike Malone's history of money, Mike Maloney's history of money, you will see, just like the Roman Empire, the way they completely debased their currency and eventually crumpled and, were not a world power. It was always because of war. War. Needed to print money, debase the currency. I think it was silver or gold, whatever coins, they eventually debased that. They began to mix bronze or copper with the gold coins and debase it. Because they had to fund war. They had to get bigger and stronger and more powerful. I love the country I live in. I love the United States of America. It's just unfortunate that history repeats in this sense. History repeats. And, it's impossible for the United States to remain a world power indefinitely. It just seems like we're making the same mistakes that our predecessors who were world powers have made in the past. So it is inevitable that the dollar will not be the world's reserve currency at some point. That's just my opinion based on logic and history. Oof, you're from Gainesville. Gainesville. I like that. You're from Gainesville. I like that. If I was from Gainesville, that's how I would spell it too. That's my bad elbow too. I still got a decent flex in the right elbow. The left elbow comes. Yeah, I can flex this one a lot easier. Oof, little Michelangelo. All right. So DJ, I'm not saying that it isn't possible with the 4-year cycle. I just think this time, um, for many reasons already stated, it's not going to occur that way. So we'll have to see. But we'll see. Maybe you'll end up being right. I mean, it's certainly true. Or that's a possibility. By the way, I did see a tweet out today. We have spoken about it on this live stream in the past. When the stock market does create new all-time highs, which, I mean, I continue to say, let's take a look at the S&P. I continue to say will happen this quarter, latest next quarter. That is absolutely, I want everyone to be aware of this. When the stock market creates new all-time highs, that's absolutely going to create a massive risk-on environment where investors are going to be very frustrated, extremely frustrated that they've missed out on gains. I mean, I'm seeing some actions even from my own family where there's a lot of fear, right, about this correction that we've seen. And I've sort of tried to calm tensions and share the same thing I've shared with you guys. I've shared with them that, hey, you have to understand we're up 32% here since the beginning of the year, and we've had this 8% pullback. Like, let's chill out, and if you're really that nervous, actually tune into my live stream, guys. I am family. Like, you can tune in once in a while and actually listen to what I'm going to say. You don't even have to watch me. You can just listen. But the point is, there isn't anything overly concerning here for me personally. Now, we start to lose some of these levels that I've spoken to in the past. Yeah, then there's reason to be concerned. But the point of what I was trying to say is, when the S&P breaks 4,800, when we come up here and we start breaking 4,800, investors are going to be very excited about the stock market, right? They weren't excited about the stock market down here. Nobody was excited about the stock market down here. Now, smart people were buying the stock market down here, right? Smart people were buying down there. But stupid money started selling down here. Stupid money always does the same shit every time, right? So what's going to happen is when we're up here and all the retail investors are like, and you're going to see it. Remember, those news headlines lead you astray. Those media headlines are going to be all bullish. For whatever reason, they'll come up. Credible Crypto's point, they're going to come up with whatever narrative fills that void that we need to make sense of the price action. Even though the charts are telling us this, they're going to come up with it, right? Now, as I've told you guys, and I hammer home on these points consistently on this channel, because there are certain points that I want to resonate with you and be just engraved in your head. If it is a risk-on environment, if the stock market is a risk-on environment, where are people going to go? They're going to go to Bitcoin. They're going to go to Casper. They're going to go to Harmony One. They're going to go to HBAR. They're going to go to all these projects, okay? It's going to be very risk-on. You have to recognize that. So we have to allow the stock market, voice change. God, my voice sounds horrible. We'll have to allow the stock market to do its thing, okay? Evan, I've already spoken about that, and I did an extensive live stream on that. I agree with you. The Federal Reserve, what people's misconception is, we do not want the Federal Reserve to decrease interest rates. Typically, historically, when the Federal Reserve begins to decrease interest rates, it's our signal to get the F out of the market, because typically we see a significant decline in the market, okay? So we don't want to get to that point. Where was that chart at? It's that period of time, and we studied it. Here it is. It's that period of time where the Federal Reserve pauses interest rates that the market can really run. Now, this was when the Federal Reserve initially paused interest rates. They had one more little hike come through, 0.25% of a rate increase the following month in July. So this technically, I'm going to have to revise this chart. This technically should probably come somewhere like here. And then this should move over a month to January like this. And this, what is this, February 12th? This should move over to about February 18th. And this should move over to August. So essentially what this is telling you, 15th, okay. So essentially what this chart is telling you, I'll have to check in to make sure these dates are accurate. If this truly is, actually pause. Did they pause last month? See, this is where it starts to get a little wacky. I have to recheck since they did one more rate increase. Let me get the chart accurate for you. I have to update this. But essentially what I've projected out here is, and I have to refine the dates. So take the exact dates with a grain of salt. But based on history, if the pause is truly a pause, like in times past, and we're done, this is the approximate time period. And again, I have to refine the dates. But sometime between January and August, what this is telling us is the Federal Reserve will most likely, sometime between January and August, they will signal a decrease in interest rates. And again, why am I paying attention to a news narrative, CBG? You just said that news is noise and you should pay attention to the charts. Well, there's data supporting what happens in the markets during Fed increases, pauses, and decreases in interest rates. That's why I'm showing you this. So at the point that the Federal Reserve announces, a decrease in interest rates, and I have it highlighted here between January and August, the market, let's pick a date here. Let's say that they choose to announce a decrease in interest rates May, right here in May, okay? What that tells us, based on history, the market has topped here, or it topped a couple weeks prior, or it's going to top a couple weeks later, but that we're going to go through a significant decrease. Okay, that is what it's telling us. So the point of Evan's comment that I agree with is, while the Federal Reserve is paused, okay, remember I used May as an example, so I used this time period here. During this time period here, during a pause, during the pause before we decrease interest rates, this is a time period typically where stocks can continue to flourish and move up, right? So it'll be interesting to see if that historical data plays out in a similar way. Again, I'm just interpreting the data. I'm not telling you, I'm not giving you an emotional opinion here or coming up with some fundamental view. It's just data. I'm just using data to tell me this. It even raised into cutting in 2019. Harmony One, of course, Harmony One. I own, I know you shared how much Harmony One you own. I will not share how much Harmony, I don't share how much of anything I own, but all I'll say is I would consider myself a whale. I will say that. I do consider myself a whale. I own a funk ton of Harmony One. I agree with you, Evan. AI and crypto will create a massive bubble. Now, what you want to do, in my opinion, never financial advice, but hey, Harmony One's up 5.6%. What you want to do, this is my crypto AI list, and you can add to this whatever you think you should add to this. But I own currently 3 projects on this list. I own the Graph, I own Origin Trail Track, and I own Alethea AI. Projects I've considered owning: Injective Protocol, Ocean Protocol. I own PRQ at once, and same with MDT. Fetch I've considered accumulating. A couple others that aren't on exchanges as support. But the point is, I believe one of the best ways that you can be financially successful with your portfolio, never financial advice. I have to keep saying this, never financial advice. One of the best ways that you can be successful with your crypto investment portfolio is to diversify, but not just diversify. Diversify based on narrative. I think it would be smart to potentially in your portfolio have a DEX, a decentralized exchange play. Potentially to have you definitely, in my opinion, should have a layer one play. I think that something in the payment remittances area, whether it's an Alchemy Pay, an XLM, an XRP, I think that's smart. I think something obviously you should have in every portfolio is store of value, Bitcoin. I think having some Ethereum in there is good. Having some AI plays in there are good. Having a Web3 play in there would be good. So basically, when you look at your investment portfolio, for example, I personally would not want to look at my portfolio and say, I have all layer one plays. Like my play for this crypto bull run is layer ones. Or my play for this crypto bull run are all AI projects. Or my play are all payment remittances. I'm going all in on XRP, XLM, and ACH. You got to diversify based on narratives. I did see, DJ, they're getting into crypto AI. I did see that. I have felt for a long time, and I've stated this much, and I really wish that the team would have taken the opportunity to take me up on what I reached out about, and I understand why. I really wanted to interview Steven, but I understand why. But I do think that they have a very strong team. I think if I were to be honest with you like I always am, I think where there's smoke, there's often fire. I think there's a lot of truth to some of the negative things that I've heard about how the organization was run. I also think that when there are negative times, some real hardship in an organization, I think a lot of shit, a lot of poo is thrown against the wall, and I think some of it is unfair and not true. I think there are two sides to a story, basically, is what I'm trying to say. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think they have a lot of brilliant minds on that team, and I think the project is absolutely going to have a rebirth. They're going to come back strong. So that is my view. All right, guys, I'm going to tune out. I think the hair intimidates Steven. Yeah, could be true. Could be true. Don't judge a book by its cover, but it could be true. Guys, tomorrow could be an exciting day, especially if we get some news on an ETF, right? If we get some unexpected positive news on an ETF, that could provide a significantly bullish day. Make sure that you do tune in tomorrow. Like I said, I promise you guys I'm going to come back here for a live stream tomorrow. I don't know exactly what time I'm going to be here for the live stream tomorrow. So make sure you click that bell icon for all notifications to know when I go live. But I will be back tomorrow. I will not be here until after tomorrow, until Tuesday of next week. So make sure you tune in tomorrow if you want some market analysis from your favorite technician in the space. That would be me. All right, guys, everybody take care of yourself. Have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at. And until next time, let's all spread awareness and let's carry the education forward. And hopefully I get my voice back tomorrow. Take care, guys.